Good morning, Andy Lockwood here from Lockwood College Consulting, and another exciting episode of College Coffee Talk. Having a little cup of Joe, please join me. Of course, I can't really buy you a cup of coffee, but I can give you some information that I have been attempting to do over the last, couple dozen episodes now. This College Coffee Talk show is an experiment that I am doing to attempt to answer all of the questions that Pearl and I have gotten over the last couple of years in our workshops, our webinars, and other types of communications, emails, and so forth. Today's question is, should I take the SAT or the ACT? Now, just as a backstory, I want to tell you two things. Number one, I'm not a tutor. I've been around in this college field for about 16 years. But I am definitely not an SAT or an ACT tutor. That being said, we just recently soft launched our tutoring business, and we hired a great tutor who is extremely knowledgeable and I would say probably overqualified. And I have talked to her at length about questions like this and other questions. So I'm going to go ahead and answer that. If you have any questions, please pop them in comments here, and please like, comment, and share this information, especially to parents that are stressed out about getting into college, about paying for college, who want to know about scholarships and financial aid and all that type of thing, as well as today's topic, which are the standardized tests. So let me just make a couple of comments that address the actual question that I get all the time. So first of all, there are a ton of SAT or ACT optional or test optional colleges, and you can look those up. A full list is kept at fairtest.org. fairtest.org. I don't know how much of a trend it is to not require the standardized tests, and the reason that these schools, and many of them are very competitive, hard to get into colleges. The reason that they have decided to make the tests optional is because they feel like they are not the best predictor of success in college. Just because you do great on a standardized test doesn't mean that you're going to do very well in college. Now, I think that's a fair criticism, although there's plenty of other types of indices that will also predict better how well you'll do in college, but those are things that don't really help you too much, because one of the predictors is how affluent your parents are, or your zip code, or whether your parents went to college, and things like that. So the ACT and the SAT are still predictive. They may not be as predictive as some other factors, but they're still predictive. The second reason that I think they're not going away, and I actually spoke about this last week when I was doing a presentation out in Riverhead, Long Island, is that there is so much grade inflation in high school where everyone, if you think about it, if you want to be really honest, everyone's got like a 92 average, 92 to 97 average. Anytime I sit down with prospective clients and I look at their grades, they seem to have an average somewhere between those in that range. So the reason for that is because many districts don't give C's anymore. The most commonly given out grade is an A. That's true in college also, but I'm talking about high school right now. So it's harder for admissions officers to understand or to get a feel for how well someone will do in college. That's why I'm telling you the standardized tests are not going away. All right, now to the actual question, which one should I take? The short answer is pretty much both are accepted by all colleges. So it's up to you which one you take, which one you feel better at, because I would just go with whatever you're the most comfortable with. That being said, in terms of study materials, and this is something that our tutor Marissa told me, and this is kind of a common sense thing, there are far more study materials out there for the ACT because the SAT format changed about a year ago. So I think there's been about 5 new formatted SATs, and therefore there really isn't nearly as much study material available to prep for the SAT as there is for the ACT. So that being said, if you had to choose one arbitrarily, I would probably go with the ACT if you're going to really study for them and avail yourself of these materials. In terms of differences between the two, part of the big changes that the SAT made were to make the SAT more ACT-like. So less about tricky questions and more about content, more about, Common Core type stuff. The ACT, generally speaking, is harder to do in terms of timing, meaning that there are more questions per hour on the ACT than there are in the SAT. So if reading speed is an issue and it's something that you feel like is going to be an obstacle, then the SAT is probably the better test in that situation. Another thing that Marissa actually pointed out to me is that a lot of people understand that the ACT has a science section, but they don't particularly like science or do well on it, so they think maybe I shouldn't do the ACT because I want to stay away from that section. In reality, there's very little sciencey stuff in the science section. It's really more about interpreting graphs and tables and reading. So the science section in the ACT is a glorified reading comprehension section. Okay. Last comment I'll make is if you're applying for the uber competitive, really, really hard to get into colleges, what I would tell you is that those schools look at all tests that you've taken. Most colleges will allow you to super score, meaning take the best sections from each test, whether it's the math from the first time you took the SAT and then the reading from the third time you took it. You can combine those two. That's what super scoring or score choice means, and it's similar for the ACT. However, some of the top colleges like Harvard, Yale, MIT, I think, they want to see every test that you've ever taken. So that may or may not play into your decision about which one to take. My advice is do a diagnostic with someone who is qualified to judge which one you're going to do better at. Take a diagnostic SAT, take a diagnostic ACT, and you will get a feel pretty quickly for which ones which one you do better on and which one feels better. And if you have someone overseeing you who's qualified and can kind of coach you through it and point out the areas that you have room for improvement on, then you'll have a clear path to success. So that is this edition of College Coffee Talk. That was so annoying. But I hope you found this valuable. I hope this helps you with your ACT versus SAT dilemma, if that's the right word. And I will be doing 2 more of these this week. We come on the air every weekday other than Tuesdays at roughly 8:30, 8:45 Eastern Standard Time. Again, please like, comment, and share. And the reason we don't do them Tuesday mornings, College Coffee Talk, is because Pearl and I together do College Talk Tuesday. That's at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time on Tuesdays only. If you want some more information and you're local, check out lockwoodworkshops.com because I am doing live workshops, one this week in Greenlawn, Long Island, Harbor Fields District. We are hosting an open house this Saturday at 9:30. That is for anyone who is interested in our services, whether that's college financial aid and scholarships, college coaching to help get into college, meaning extracurricular activities and marketing your kid, positioning your kid, as well as essays and applications and all that type of stuff. And tutoring. Our tutor, Marissa, will be there also. So that's all posted at lockwoodworkshops.com. Space is, I think, almost filled up for tomorrow night's talk in Greenlawn. We have a limited, because we have a small office, we have limited availability this Saturday for the open house. And the last time we're speaking this month is down in Garden City on March 29th, Garden City, Long Island. And we're also planning a webinar for those of you who are not local. So thanks for watching this edition of College Coffee Talk, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.